The purpose of this screencast is to show programs how to do their annual reporting for the strategic plan. First of all of the programs met with the faculty chair of the Strategic Planning Committee in an effort to narrow their focus so that each program would address no more than 3 strategic objectives. Our current strategic plan has 6 goals. Each of those goals has a number of objectives. In total, the entire plan has 25 objectives. Rather than having every single program address many of the different objectives in this plan, we decided to have them really narrow their focus onto the 3 that their program specifically addresses. Part of this process was in order to connect the strategic plan in a stronger way to the annual program review report. So some of the things that we're going to do is to look at Blackboard Program Review, the annual report, download the form. The top portion addresses the substantiated goals for each program, but the lower portion addresses the strategic planning objectives. So the first thing you need to do is to log into Blackboard. Once you've logged into Blackboard, you're going to click under Organizations, the Program Review. In the Program Review section of Blackboard, you're going to click on Program Review and Strategic Plan Annual Reports. As you can see, we've been doing this for a couple of years, so you'll select the current year, and then a list of programs will show up. Scroll down, find your program, and click on it. When you do, a box is going to pop up saying, is this your program and do you want to open this file? Go ahead and click OK, and a form will pop up that looks something similar to this. At the very top of the program, it'll have the actual program review's substantiated goals that you can keep track of the progress of your annual goals. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the form and you will actually find the Strategic Plan Smart Assessment form. The Smart Assessment form is specialized so that people can indicate things that are specific, measurable, the action plan, that they are result-focused, and that they also function on a timeline. So let's talk about how to fill out the forms. This is what a form looks like, and the first thing you need to do is to pay attention and make sure that your name, the program, is actually indicated on the form. If it isn't, type in your program. Also make sure that you're addressing the current year, so make sure the current year is also addressed. Next, take a look at the strategic objective. Is that one of the objectives that your program selected? If it's not, or you feel that it's no longer relevant to your program, go ahead and change the strategic objective to the one that you feel best suits your program. And then you're going to begin to fill out the information. So let's talk about what we are looking for. First of all, we are looking for things that are specific. Under the specific category, we want you to name the activity or the action that you completed during that academic year that caused a change or a growth in your program and improved student success. This could be just the title of an event or an organization or a program or a plan that you've begun. You don't need to get very specific here because it's just naming the specific activity. Measurable is where we want to keep track of how well we're doing and whether or not progress is made. So specifically what we're looking for is either numerical or percentage increases or decreases based on the specific activity that you just performed. So for example, the number of students that are served or the percentage of FTEs that were generated. The third column becomes really important for a historical reference for your program. Action. That's how did you complete that particular plan, activity, or program. This works out really nice because from a historical perspective, if you weren't still part of the program the following year, new people might not know what that plan was or what that activity was. You just gave it an activity name. You didn't tell us how it functioned or how it worked. So under action, you're going to actually write out how that activity or action how it functioned, how it worked, what was involved. You don't have to be extremely detailed, but this is the opportunity for you to describe it. Result focused is just a checkbox. You just need to mark that, and that helps you keep in mind that you need to be focusing on what's the result. Are we making progress? Is there continuous quality improvement? And then lastly, timeline. Is this a one-time event or is this ongoing? Does it have a term or a time frame? Was it something you just began? Is it something you've completed and you no longer need to do it the following year? So here's a couple of examples of some forms that are filled out. I believe this first one is for an art program. And you can see that the objective is to increase students' campus and community engagement in order to facilitate persistence and completion rates. Specifically, they had a public art show. How they measured it was that they had set a goal of 25 submissions and they ended up receiving 22, which is 88% of their goal. They expected about 90 people to participate or attend over the 3 shows that they had, and they had a total of 75 people that actually came and attended, which created 83% of their goal. Now, under action, it's pretty simplistic that it was a public art show of student projects. However, if under specific they had named it the Art Festival, then you might, under action, then describe the fact that it was a public art show and it had student projects being displayed. So the action describes what the specific item was. This one was result focused and it's ongoing. Another example that came out was to assess, maintain, and develop effective and relevant career technical education programs in collaboration with business and industry partners. So this comes out of our CTE section. Specifically, they want to track former graduates in their career goals. The measurable items that they used was that they set an institutional expected rate of employment for the students, and they wanted to compare that to the current numbers. The past year in 2013 and 14, the graduates, they said relevant jobs was at 40%. So 10 students were tracked this year in 14-15, and it's at 79%. 32 students were tracked. The action, how they actually completed the tracking of former graduate students, was that they partnered with career development and with local automotive industries, and they maintained email contact with the graduates, and then they were able to report those to ACCJC and in their program review. This is an ongoing annual program that they're going to continue. The last example is for Objective 1.4. And it's to develop strategies to address unique needs of students to aid in their academic success. And this was by the Creative Writing Program. And specifically what they wanted to do was conference on effective workshop techniques. So the measurements that they decided was they wanted to have students respond to a short item open survey. So it wasn't a Likert scale, it was an open box, and they wanted them to give feedback in order for them to help improve the process. The students responded in a very helpful manner. They had actually themes that showed up in the reporting, and the most common reported themes were inclusion of more group writing, the use of Google Docs, and more one-on-one instructor assistance. Now, they could have easily reported this as a frequency of each theme, and they could have said how many students responded to each of the themes that were generated. But what they were really looking for was more of a qualitative lean as to what were some of the comments that students said would make and improve their program. The action that they took, how they got that specific project done, was that they administered a survey in each class after the workshop. It's an ongoing progress and it is result focused. So how does this help us? First of all, evidence of continuous quality improvement across all programs is a huge plus for accreditation purposes. Secondly, this type of evidence justifies expenditures in the budget because we can see the growth that happens across the campus in every single program. And lastly, it shows growth for the individual programs for the program review. So the most important question is, how does this actually help your program? At the end of a cycle, your program will have specific evidence from every year to use in your own program review. At the end of your program review cycle, you can actually take these reports, pull the information that you wrote, and you have specific evidence that has been measured and consistent throughout every single year. It will be a huge help when you sit down to write your program review. I'm hoping that this information helps you to understand how to fill out the forms and that it'll help you see the evolution and the growth within your program. If you have any questions, you can contact Linda Carvalho Cooley. I'm the faculty chair of the Strategic Planning Committee, and my extension at Reedley College is 3126. Thank you.